very quickly. And certainly as you get older, you think, wow, you know, I thought that person was completely insignificant, and here they are offering me some opportunity. Or somebody who you've struggled with for years and years, possibly a family member. They're the ones we struggle with a lot, aren't they? They're put there for a reason for you, and you're just struggling with this relationship, and you struggle and you can't stand them, and suddenly something happens, turns it round, and you're close to them. And the people you were close to, there's distance. We can see that over one lifetime. So that is the practice of equalizing all beings. And it's only then that we can release ourselves from attachment to some and aversion to others. Because whoever we have some aversion to at the moment, we can think we can lessen that hatred, that dislike, that wish not to even see them by thinking, well, maybe at some time that will change. And they have their own story. And I have my own story. And those people who I have nothing to do with at the moment, who knows? They may be praying for me. They may be part of the food cycle that is going to keep me on this planet. We consider the interdependence and the way in which we are actually all equal to each other in our wish to be happy and our wish to be free from suffering. Whether that be the smallest insect, yeah, or the greatest celebrity you can imagine. So, having worked through that concept, which I'm going through with you rather than doing the meditation, there is a wonderful meditation for developing compassion, which is called Tong Len. And again, some of you may recognize it. It's taking and giving. And I'm going to explain it. It's very profound. And Tibetan Buddhist lamas who used to teach this would only ever teach it where you focused on other sentient beings and you focused on releasing them from suffering through taking it upon yourself and giving them happiness. Yeah? But since they came to the West and recognized what awful low self-esteem a lot of us have, and what terrible problems and guilt we all carry around, this big bag on our shoulders, it's changed. So I love that. I love the fact that it's not static and that they've gone, you know what, we need to change this. So before we develop compassion for others, this came up in our discussion yesterday, we need to have compassion for ourselves. So the meditation I'm going to do with you, lead you through to begin with, is Tong Len, and the object of our focus and our meditation is ourself. Okay? That doesn't mean that you're developing this huge love affair and you're elevating yourself to being special. Yes, we are unique. Yes, we are special. But actually what we're doing here is recognizing our own stories, why we are the way we are, and developing this incredible compassion for our own story, our own selves, so that we can then, by releasing ourselves from that, by releasing ourselves from our ego, then we can truly look outward to others and think, wow, I'm going through this. Everybody's going through this. Everybody's going through similar. And then we focus on beings like insects, what their little lives are made up of, the survival of animals and birds and other beings in other parts of the world who are suffering terrible things. And here we are with our, what we would call small samsaric problems perhaps, you know, still angsting about that when people are struggling with disease and shelter and homes and water. Okay, And there will be an opportunity after the first meditation for some feedback, some questions, before we do the final meditation on all others. So, you know how to meditate. I don't have to talk through the posture or anything. What we're going to do is have a few minutes of mindfulness meditation while we stabilize the mind. And then I'll introduce the visualization. If you struggle with visualization, which some people do, just get a feel for it. You know, just feel it within yourself and listen to the story and intellectualize it if you wish. You know, use the ideas. Okay, so do it your way. So make yourselves comfortable and lower your eyes. And we're going to take some lovely deep breaths together. And as we breathe out, releasing any tension that we might feel in the body. Breathe in and hold the breath, adjusting your body and your posture. And release. Lovely long breath out before taking another deep breath in and holding it. And release. One more deep breath. Hold. And when you release, ensure that all the tension from your legs, your arms, your shoulders, your back is being let out as well. And then resume natural breathing. And focus your attention either on the sensation on your upper lip, that small breath, tiny breeze as you breathe in and out, or into your abdomen, focusing on the rise and fall in your body. A few minutes, bringing your awareness to that still space within your body. We start with our motivation. Why am I here? Why am I doing this meditation? I want to really form a strong relationship with myself, build my self-esteem, like myself, recognize my potential, and have incredible compassion for my own humanity and for all the struggles, for everything I have experienced so far in my life that has made me the way I am. And when I do that, I will definitely be able to have compassion for my own ego identity and develop compassion for other beings. Which will result in the precious mind of bodhicitta, the wish to become enlightened for the benefit of all sentient beings. And visualize in the space ahead of you, very comfortably ahead of you, seated however you wish, the mirror image of yourself. It may not be as you are now. You may see yourself in your home or in a setting where you struggle, and you're looking at yourself with great compassion. See your facial expression. Recognize how much of that is natural and how much a mask. Recognize the aging quality of your skin, tiny lines, wrinkles as you change and grow and become older. Acknowledge, in fact, feel any aches and pains and illnesses that you have or have experienced, and the discomfort and difficulties they gave you. Recognize your humanity, that you were born and you will live for a while and then you will die. And feel that pain or worry or anxiety that comes with that thought. Don't distract yourself from the reality of your being. Now think of all the things that you hold dear, the people. See them in your visualization. How you hold on to them You don't want to ever let them go. And yet every day brings separation, and ultimately there will be separation. And check up on what I'm saying. Don't agree, just check up. And consider your life as a child. Perhaps things and people you've had to leave behind. Perhaps parents that have died or who are now struggling, very infirm and aged. And your unique struggles, the destructive emotions that keep you awake at night, the worries and anxieties, fears, anger, jealousy, insecurity, that you try to deal with, but they keep coming. And build up this image and add your own ideas. All the time, not seeing yourself as pathetic or ridiculous, but as this person who is trying so hard to be good, to be worthwhile, to have meaning and purpose, and to benefit others, and to bring others love and happiness. Your true intention, your deep, profound motivation for being in the world. And when you generate compassion for yourself, feel it like that, this yearning for yourself to be free from suffering so you can just get on with benefiting yourself and others. And with this yearning comes the recognition of your great effort, of recognizing that things have happened to you that just didn't feel right, your disappointments. And so you develop a very sincere wish to take all those troubles from you. And give back just happiness. So with this method, we visualize all the troubles and difficulties as black smoke coming from you. We visualize ourselves sucking that through, breathing that through our nostrils, that thick black smoke. And as it comes down to our heart, at our heart chakra, that black smoke starts to crack through the black shield of self-cherishing ego that completely encases our true Buddha nature, our genuine compassion and wisdom, which is like a light hidden within. And as we do that, the light is released and we breathe that out and give it to ourselves in front of us. So that is the cycle I'm going to take you through, and you do it gently, understanding that you're not just taking in black energy. It is actually a skill to destroy the self-cherishing I, your true enemy. So you can recognize your suffering as one at a time or just general. Maybe you have a particular issue at the moment that you want to help yourself with. So just see that coming from the heart of your mirror image. And as you breathe in, that black smoke comes towards you until there is a fog of black smoke right in front of your face. Don't be afraid of it. Have courage. You are a spiritual warrior. And you want to destroy your true enemy, self-cherishing. Breathe that black smoke in. Feel it go up the nostrils, into the head, down to your heart. And as that black smoke reaches the black case of self-cherishing, it starts to crack it. It starts to diminish it. And you can actually see and feel this light which is in you all the time, rushing out through the cracks. And as you breathe out, down through the nostrils and out, like laser beams towards your mirror image, starting to release yourself from suffering, taking the suffering, giving the love. So I'm just going to let you, in your own way, perhaps focusing on one thing, perhaps focusing on another, perhaps just getting a feel for the whole thing. It's a complex meditation, but generating the feeling all the time of really strongly wanting to take away your suffering and give yourself genuine happiness. And generate the success of this. You can see yourself filling with light, and all the pain, all the disappointment, all the discouragement, all the struggle is leaving you. Your mirror image is becoming free from suffering, peaceful and content. And you yourself during the meditation, yourself cherishing that black shell is disintegrating and the light is pouring out. And generate that feeling. Compassion is bliss. Compassion is complete freedom from the ego, total focus on others' well-being. So the ultimate result of the meditation is that you are both in bliss and peace and freedom from suffering. So give yourself plenty of time to bring that to fruition. Both of you sitting in this light and bliss, smiling at each other, able to fully appreciate yourself, fully understand, fully love, fully forgive. Gradually bring that visual image of yourself into your heart, dissolving it into light. Bring it through the breath, or you can bring it down through the crown chakra, down to your heart and melt it there. So that you are just one in light, radiating compassion outward, completely ready to benefit others. Dissolve any visualization. Bring yourself back to where you are in the tent with each other. Generate a feeling of well-being, goodness, and think, I'd like to dedicate that. That was a noble thing I did. If I do nothing else in my life that is beneficial towards myself and others, I've done that. And feel really grateful to yourself for having such open minds. And end the meditation. Are there any questions about that? It's not easy. I know. Does anybody have a question? I'm just going to repeat that because I'm trying to do this, but maybe there's not time. Or Liza, would you like to repeat that so everybody can hear?
I wasn't able to picture myself. How about now? Hello? So I couldn't picture myself. I had to pick a photo that I was familiar with of myself. Makes no difference.
Technology. Question was she couldn't picture herself. So was a photo okay? And basically, yes, that can be difficult. So yes, for sure, a photograph. In fact, perhaps, sometimes I look at pictures of myself as a child, and I can really have compassion for the child. Whereas if I look at myself now, I think, So there's some need for some kind of separation even from yourself, your developing self, yeah? And sometimes it's useful if you're having a struggle in a situation, a family situation. You can remember when you were sitting down, sobbing your heart out, or tearing your hair out, or just like, oh God, this life is so tough. It's just some moment like that when you can see yourself and those difficulties, yeah? Whatever works, to be honest. There's no set way. The idea is behind it. Is that okay? Questions? Right, I'm just going to repeat it because it's too complicated. Sorry, Liza. Because I'm not, doing it properly. Yes. About yourself, you mean? Oh, right, yes, sure, okay. So, but is it, right, so the question was, it felt a bit selfish. I'm feeling great now, but, well, the move is to move on to others, yeah? Which is what I'd like to give you a flavour of. So I'm only going to take one more question at this point. But it's intelligent selfishness. So the Dalai Lama actually says Buddhism is very selfish. It's a very selfish religion because it's all about making yourself happy. But what we don't recognize is the only way to be happy, truly happy, is to release from the ego and benefit others. And then think of him, Mr. Happiness. He's just always happy. He's always there for others. 100% of his life dedicated to benefiting others. Tibetan Buddhists, as I'm sure, many other people from all kinds of different cultures and religions do, dedicate their lives to benefiting others. When you do that, you can't do it from a place of, poor me. Otherwise, you just burn out. And then you end up going, I can't do this anymore. And it's all about me again. So the only way we can do it is when it's joyful. And it's truly joyful when we are able to include ourselves. Because we're not, well, I can't judge, but I know I'm not enlightened. So until I'm enlightened, I need to kind of look after myself a bit and recognize the burnouts, recognize the stress, recognize when I need a bit of TLC, And then, but from a place of going, okay, when I've done that, I'm going to do this, or I will be able to, I'll want to. You've got to want to help others. It shouldn't be a chore. Does that answer it in any way? Yeah? Yeah. So don't be afraid of that. So I'm sorry, one more question. We'll have time at the end if anybody wants to ask me anything. So there's a lady, yeah, I think yours was up just before the other ladies. Later, yeah? Black smoke, actually. Yeah. Yeah, because we recognise it as negative. So in the same way that yesterday we were talking about destructive emotions. Were you there yesterday? Yeah. And the constructive emotions. The question was struggling with that blackness. Well, yeah. Taking it on. Oh, what do I want to bring that in for? It's representing the negativity. Yeah. So other meditations that we do are breathing in white light, breathing out black smoke, recognizing that we have it. But it's not a permanent thing. And that when we do that, which is a much simpler meditation, do you know that one? Where you visualize some kind of gorgeous source or divine source of blissful, white, pure energy, which is in the nature of all good qualities. Yeah? And then you breathe that in. And as you do that, when you breathe out any negativity, which could be pain, which could be you're really struggling with some irritation or anger at the moment, or struggle, and you breathe that out. So it's having the same psychological effect on you. Yeah, yeah. Okay. I want to just introduce you to how you do this with others. Yeah, and it's not going to be for long, a 10-minute quickie, but at least you'll know. I think it's much more important to do it for yourself, and then you know the process. But all you're doing is exchanging the mirror image of yourself for a being. Now, some of the Tibetan lamas, they do this for at least an hour, and they will bring in all the different realms of suffering and focus on each one. And Buddhist cosmology focuses on the human realm, so that could take us all day. The animal realm, the hungry ghost, the spirit realm, the hell beings who are freezing, we relate to that. The hell beings that are boiling, we relate to that anyway, don't we? And the God realms. So all these different realms, and understanding that those actually are our own psychological states anyway at some point or another. Yeah, we all go through hell. So whether you believe that they exist or not, which actually I'm sure a lot of you do, can see that we're not the only beings around. You can, when I do this in a secular format, I say you all know when you felt like a god in that hot tub. When you felt in hell, some horrendous thing that you just want to run away from. And when we feel hungry, the hungry ghost, craving for something that we can't have. Craving and not getting, craving, not getting. And then when we get it, not being enough, and then being scared we're going to lose it. So we know those experiences. So they will go through the whole gamut until you're a quivering wreck. Sobbing. So, by all means, in your own time, you'll be able to do that. Or maybe next year will happen and we'll do that, But for the moment, I think it's useful to focus perhaps on one being that you're struggling with. Yeah, or a group. Or if life's great at the moment, maybe you can think of some other place, refugees, something like that, that genuinely moves you. So let's have a go. So just relax. A few deep breaths on your own. And a few minutes of mindfulness. And make your motivation why you're doing this. Be very clear. And visualize the person who you struggle with or who you wish to extend great compassion for. And the reason we choose somebody we struggle with is because we don't really have compassion for them. We see them in a negative way. We don't see them as human beings. So we consider their story, all the reasons we can imagine, and all the reasons we know as fellow human beings of their struggle. Perhaps their ego is inflated. Perhaps they express themselves in a very angry way. Perhaps they're abusive. So at a safe distance from you, you see them. And alternatively, if you're thinking of refugees, the starving, the sick, that's easy. Really generate an empathic feeling of imagining walking in their shoes. And build that up until you feel in your heart this strong wish to free them from suffering. And as you do that, you start to breathe in their suffering, all the negative experience they have in the form of this thick, acrid black smoke. It's not doing you any harm. It's going to destroy that hard nut shell you have at your heart, which is completely covering your inner light. And as you do it, releasing that light and seeing them become less angry, or find homes, or whatever it is that you think will make them happy. And they're becoming released from suffering. You are helping them. And they are helping you. There's the paradox. Having people or creatures in the world to have compassion for enables you to develop. Otherwise, we'd be stuck. We are all interdependent. So they are helping you. There's the humility. And your heart is being freed. Until all the black smoke, all the self-cherishing has disappeared, completely gone. And it's like a light bulb goes off in your body. You're completely filled with light. And they are too. How incredible. Because of suffering, we are able to develop compassion. How else could we do it? So bring them into your heart in the form of light. Embrace them fully. And dedicate all your efforts to your complete enlightenment so that you might benefit all other beings. And there is a beautiful prayer called the Four Immeasurables, which you may know. And variations of it. We can say it together. I'll say it, and then you can say the line after me if you wish. May all beings have happiness and the causes of happiness. May all beings be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. May all beings never be separated from the happiness that is free from suffering. I'll say that with you. May all beings never be separated from the happiness that is free from suffering. And may all beings abide in equanimity, free from aversion for some and attachment to others. May all beings abide in equanimity, free from aversion for some and attachment for others. And dissolve the light and end your meditation.